I want to give you an unbiased review of HelloFresh. So many videos that you see on YouTube or reviews in general from influencers or other people online are sponsored reviews. This is not sponsored. I have paid for absolutely every box from HelloFresh on my own. They don't really know I exist other than just being one of their normal customers. Hopefully this is helpful for you. I'm going to give the pros and cons as well as showing you what's in one of my boxes as an example. I just got this one at the front door. They are so heavy. It was really hard to get it up on the countertop. When you open them, you get all of these recipe cards. They're typically at the top. And then they also sometimes send coupons. They do send them for Good Shop a lot, and then also for HelloFresh itself, offering free boxes for your friends or discount codes or things like that. I do have a discount code, again, not sponsored. If you do, after watching this whole review, want to give it a try. Starting with the deliveries itself, you can select the day that you want to have your food delivered. It can only be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, I believe. So there's a little bit of flexibility, but not a ton. It is delivered right to your door, which is extremely convenient. I have had varied experiences with the boxes. This one is actually in pretty good shape. There's a little bit of ripping here, but sometimes I have had leakage and dripping, and the box looks like it has been through a battle. Inside the boxes, they do have these recyclable ice packs, I guess, and it does have a little bit of a jelly something in there, so they keep the food cold. But again, sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of leakage or just condensation. And then each meal comes in its own bag, which, look, you can see here, this got a little wet, so it's ripped open a little bit. And it tells you what the meal is on the outside of the bag. We have an extra fridge in our basement, so I just put each of these bags in the basement fridge, and then when I want to cook a meal, I bring it upstairs, so it's very convenient from that perspective. Otherwise, I will say it's a lot of stuff to put in your fridge, so you might want to unbox it and figure out what stuff can go in the fridge and what stuff can just stay in your pantry to save a little bit of fridge space, because, I mean, you can see how quickly this starts to build up. In addition to all of the meals that you get in each of these bags, you will get your proteins at the bottom. So in this one, I have some salmon, I have shrimp, there's ground beef, and that will be at the bottom closest to some of those ice packs. So those will always be separate from your bags of food, or you can get breakfast or soups or other add-ons like that. Okay, so the cost is going to vary drastically depending on, number one, the promotion that you use. If you use a discount of some sort, which I would highly recommend, I would never get one of these things full price because there are so many discounts going around, like, again, the one I have in my description box, or there are different promotions that they have going on depending on the time of year. I signed up when you could get a free item for life. The item that it can be one of those breakfast desserts, or what I have really loved because I have kids, and I will say this is a huge advantage to this box, like this is really worth it to me, is the kids meals. And the one that I have in this box is a kids grilled cheese square. So it comes with flatbread, cheese, sauces, oranges, carrots, cucumbers, little chocolate chips. So it's to like pack their lunchbox. And I love that while I've been doing HelloFresh, I don't have to think about at least my toddler's lunchbox, and I just prepare whatever the kids meal is of the week. They've done like chicken fingers or little pizzas, some veggie and hummus roll-ups, lots of different options. But your free item for life could be something else. Like one week I don't think I liked what the kids meal was, and I chose to do desserts for us, which we also very much enjoyed. It was a molten chocolate lava cake of some sort. So this add-on, even if it's not free, could be something that you're interested in if you're having trouble either coming up with ideas for your kids to pack for lunch, or if that's just really overwhelming. It's a really great option. The other thing that's going to vary the price of your box is going to be the type of plan that you do. So we are doing a plan where it is for 4 meals a week for 4 people. So I get to pick 4 meals, and you can change it every week if you want to. I could add on a 5th meal, or I could reduce it. My husband's a pretty big eater. I feel like I eat a decent portion. Sometimes we find that the portion for 4 people is not quite 4. So a lot of times we like to have leftovers for lunch. So that was my thought of having it for 4 people. We would have it for dinner, and then we would have leftovers for lunch, and it just doesn't always stretch that way. Sometimes the pasta dishes will stretch even more than that, but when it's like a burger and fries, the burgers feel a little bit small, and sometimes it leaves both of us wanting just a little bit more. So the other thing that's important to know that's really going to impact price is some of the other add-ons. Not the add-ons like desserts and kids meals and things like that, but within the meals that you select themselves, there are additional fees with so many of the meals, and I was not aware of that when I signed up. So a lot of times I'm going through looking at the meals that I want to add and realize that, oh wait, these all have an extra $8.99 per serving, or an extra whatever it is that can actually be quite expensive. Most of them are the meals that look really good because they have steak or salmon, sometimes the shrimp ones. And then the ones that I'm finding that are just the normal price and won't increase the price of your box that you're already expecting to pay are a lot of cheaper ingredients. So they're typically the ones that have ground beef or chicken. There's a lot of pork. They're the vegetarian meals. They have sides like potatoes, green beans, rice, and then things that are the more expensive ingredients really quickly jumps up that price because, again, it adds on per serving. So if I have a meal for 4, that number is multiplied by 4. So be aware of that. I will share on the screen here, as you can see, some of the different meal options. So you can kind of start to get a sense of what the meals look like when they're the regular price. And then you'll see that it has the additional price there for the ones that are more expensive. The reason that I have salmon in this box, because I decided that I did not want to pay any more than I was already paying for these boxes. I feel like this is kind of a middle of the road option. If you are somebody that cooks everything at home from scratch, that's probably going to be the most economical choice you can make. If you are somebody that orders takeout every single night, this is going to be that middle of the road, at least financially. And there is something about the fact that you don't have to think about meals. That takes time. You have to still do some grocery shopping because this isn't going to be everything you eat in a week. Again, you still probably have breakfast or lunches, depending on whether you eat this as leftovers, but you probably still want fresh fruit and veggies. Maybe you want milk in your house and eggs and other things like that, especially if you have kids like I do. So this isn't going to be your total monthly grocery bill. Just keep that in mind. But again, back to why I have salmon this month that is a little bit wet, is because they do offer incentives when you continue to order more. So when you've reached a certain number of boxes, then they give you an incentive. So some of the incentives I got were, I got money off of some of the premium meals, so I used that to get my salmon. I got a free additional item that I used for a dessert once. So they do try and incentivize you to keep going and keep purchasing, which is nice that you get rewarded for your loyalty. Okay, the meals themselves. The biggest perk to HelloFresh is I don't think in the entire 2 months that we have used HelloFresh, and yes, we've used it for 2 straight months, I don't think that we've had a meal that we didn't like. There was maybe one in all of it where I thought, this meal is like, it's fine, but I definitely would not say it's bad. So taste-wise, the food is good. The downsides are, again, that it feels like you're getting a lot of cheap ingredients sometimes, which doesn't necessarily lead itself to the healthiest ingredients. There's a lot of meals where it started to feel repetitive. So being 2 months in, I'm starting to feel like even if it's not the exact same meals, they have the same flavors to them or kind of the same ideas. We end up getting a lot of burgers, a lot of pasta dishes, or like some meat and rice or meat and couscous, because we want a protein in our meal and I don't want to pay extra money for some of the premium meals. So it narrows that scope. Even though it seems like there's an endless amount of foods that you can pick from, it's not necessarily the case if you have dietary restrictions. Like I don't eat pork, so that knocks out all of the pork meals. If you want to avoid, having potatoes, like I mentioned, there's so many meals that have potatoes on the side. So that scope gets a lot smaller if you have preferences or dietary restrictions. Another thing a lot of people complain about with meal deliveries, which I hopefully can show you an example here, is that so many people say that there's just a lot of packaging, which obviously you can see there's a lot of packaging, but every single thing is wrapped in plastic pretty much. And the other downside is when you order for 4, most of the meals are meant to be for 2 people, and then the instructions that they give you will mention what to do if you have 4 people, but everything's packaged for 2 people. So instead of getting just a larger thing of green onions or a larger thing of cilantro, they send you double, which means double the packaging. So I don't love that it's not environmentally friendly, or as environmentally friendly as it could be. A lot of their things do say that they're recyclable, like the ice packs, the boxes, all of the paper, things like that. But again, it's just something to be aware of. Okay, if you're somebody that loves to cook, I don't know if this will be your thing. It's a great option for people that don't love to cook, don't know how to cook, they're new to it, they're trying to get into it. I don't know if it will necessarily teach you cooking skills, but at least it starts to get you in the kitchen and starts you down that road. I personally love to cook, and I feel like it almost steals the joy of it, because most of the cooking you're doing a lot of veggie chopping, but most of the cooking that you're doing is taking things like this, all of these packets, and just mixing them together. So if you're going to make a sauce, for example, it's literally just cutting these open, dumping them together in a bowl and mixing it together, and that's the sauce. You're not, I don't know, doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There's no creativity, obviously, which is a pro and a con, because it takes the mental load off of preparing dinner and figuring out if something's gonna taste good or not, because again, the taste is great. So if you just follow everything and do what they say, you're gonna have a good meal. Quality of ingredients have been, for the most part, pretty good. I have had incidents though, and I feel like I've maybe had a few too many incidents for 2 months of using HelloFresh. I have had, let's see, like moldy cheese and moldy bread. I have had just some produce that, tomatoes, most times it seems like they're not quite ripe. I've had some peppers that look a little bit squishier than I would have liked for them to be, but again, I don't expect perfection necessarily, and I think for the most part the ingredients have been pretty good. I've also had a couple of things missing, or I've had one protein that was the wrong protein and I didn't figure it out till I was already 90% through making the meal, and all I had to do was toss the chicken on, and come to find out I didn't have chicken. So I have gone through a lot of troubleshooting with their customer service. Yes, they are helpful, but the biggest downside is they give you credit for all of the issues that you have. Whether you have a damaged ingredient, a missing ingredient, the wrong ingredient, any of that stuff, you get a credit on your account, and you can only use that credit on a non-discounted box. So since I have the free item for life, that counts as a discount. So I almost have to, I have to give up my free item if I want to use my credits. So it's almost like they don't really do anything, because you then have to forfeit something else, and it's kind of a wash at that point. The other kind of technical thing that I figured out that I did not like is we had one week that I had to skip, and you can easily skip a week or reschedule it and just keep going with your subscription. But I had a promotion where it was a certain percentage off over a span of 10 boxes, I think. And when I chose to skip a week, I forfeited that percentage off, and I couldn't apply it to a future box, if that makes sense. I couldn't kind of shift that over. It's just I gave up that discount, which was kind of disappointing. And I wish I would have understood that a little bit more, because that was near the beginning of us subscribing, and I would have started subscribing after that trip or vacation. Okay, so all in, I think it really depends on you and your lifestyle. If you are wanting to do one of these meal kit delivery services, I do think, again, from a taste perspective, HelloFresh is good. The food tastes good. I don't think it's the healthiest necessarily. There's a lot of carbs and cream-based sauces and really rich, indulgent foods. But there also are some salads and healthier things too. But again, I just don't think that's their focus, although you can focus on different types of things as you're selecting your meals. That's just not necessarily what they do. I would just, in general, say it is good if you're looking for taste. That's kind of the overall summary, and hopefully getting to see what's inside the box, how it's packed. My personal experience has helped you make a decision. I want to try some more meal kit delivery systems and services. So if you have some you want me to try and review, please let me know. Also, if you have additional questions, I would love to hear them. Happy to answer any questions in the comments below. But until next time, I will see you all later.